Hey, budding lawyers, welcome to the podcast. Today we are going to have a chat with Ms Bhavya Bhatt, and we also have Ritamra. Hey, Ritamra, what's up?
Hello everyone.
Yeah, so Ritamra is going to co-host the podcast, and Bhavya Bhatt is our guest for today's episode. Bhavya is a non-practicing lawyer who is into practice development. Most of us would have heard it for the first time, as even I didn't know about it before. She is also into content strategy. She is a good writer. She has a wonderful blog. You all must check it out. I'll leave the link in the description. And she is a good storyteller. So let's start with the conversation.
Hi guys, great to be here.
Let's start with you, Bhavya. So tell us something about your work. Um, how does a typical day look like for you, like in practice development?
Well, I'd say practice development for me is all about strategizing, implementing it, executing it, going back to strategizing, and ensuring that my team's working. And at the end of the day, our goal is to just deliver what the client wants. So a typical day would be, in the morning, wake up, obviously, and then get in touch with the team, find out what everybody's up to, and plan out the day accordingly. And then, accordingly update the client as to the deliverable would be given here and there. So I'd say practice development is just not about, about building the practice. It has more to do with what the client wants and how exactly he wants to build the practice. So when I say practice, it's just not the litigation practice or the corporate practice. I say this is a business practice. How would he want to grow? And how would he want to maximize his profits? How would he onboard clients? How would he pitch himself to the clients? A lot to do with branding and then creating strategies accordingly and marketing themselves further. So there's a lot of ideation, there's a lot of discussion that goes into the place. I mean, as a freelancer, people might just think that you just start your work, do your work, and that's about that. But then a lot of conversations happen in place because I want my strategies to be as per what the other person might want. So again, the whole day is just calls strategy. But again, there's a peace of mind because that you're not working under somebody, right? So you have that peace of mind where you know that you can take decisions according to what you feel is right. So for me, this is very important, and this pretty much is how the day looks like for me.
As you've told, you're into practice development. So basically, we can say it is a business development, like
See, yeah, I mean that
a
is
very
one way.
wholesome.
Yes. So business development and practice development. I mean, to me, what I've deciphered when I think about practice development is how, you're also contributing to the internal policies of the firm to ensure that internal operations are working well. So they can, it can kind of reflect on your practice that is on the outside. Because if your lawyers, if your employees are going through, something that is not really fine, especially when it comes to a lot of law firm policies. Everything is unorganized here and there. So if internally you're not organized enough, no matter how good a brand you may have, you will fall down. So the whole thing, what I decipher from practice development is that you ensure that internally and externally, you're balancing it. And for me, when I have worked with, a couple of law firms and legal professionals, it's easier for me to tell them that, hey, I think this is where you're supposed to sort it out internally, and this is how it is going to reflect on your external brand or your presence. So this, I'd say, is what happens according to me and what I've been doing.
So as you said, you're doing things freelance, like you're
Yeah.
doing freelancing bit and now. So
Yeah.
I would want to ask, how would you advise young professionals? Like, how should they go about the journey? Like, start their journey, like build a brand on LinkedIn, like have a blog like you do. Like, what would
See,
you suggest?
I'd say it's not really a one day game. Like they say, Rome wasn't built in a day. So for
Correct.
me, it took me 5 years to reach in a place where, I guess Prasanna saw my profile
Mm.
and felt like I might add value. So for me,
Mm.
when I started my personal brand, I did not know what personal branding was. I just did it because people liked what I wrote. And it was I guess 2 years later that I realized, okay, I have a value and a worth which is way more than what anybody else can think of me. And that's when I heavily started investing on myself, on my personal brand, wrote stories, very unfiltered law, raw experiences from law school, even from my workplaces and everything. So I think at the end of the day, if you're able to find out what your USP is, because everybody, everything in this world has a USP. And in today's world, if you're able to crack that USP of yours, it becomes very easy for you to place your bet for yourself there. And for young, law students and law professionals, I receive messages on a daily basis based on the stories and everything that I write on LinkedIn, where they ask me, how did you end up doing this? Or, how can we earn money as a freelancer and this and that? So to them, they just think about one thing that they like, and that's about that. But then if you're relying on somebody else's experiences to carve out a niche for yourself, it's not going to work out, because what worked out for me might not work out for you. You have different things to offer, you have a different skill set. So I'd say for everybody and for every law student, having your brand is very important. While branding is important, you need to understand what is it that you offer. Not everybody can be a content writer, not everybody can just go out there and do graphic designing. I mean, I don't like it and I don't do graphic designing. Not every law student is cut out for a litigation career. So you need to sit back, analyze what you want to do, expose yourself to variety of domains, and then start focusing on that particular thing and start building your brand. So for everybody who wants to start off or whatever, all I'd want to say is, first you need to know what is it that really interests you. For that, you need to explore. You really can't see the whole world from the window that you're sitting in. You need to go out there, and that applies everywhere. And once you have that, you start talking about it. LinkedIn, for me and for everybody, I say, is a plain canvas. Every day you can draw a new painting through words. And sometimes people might say, what are you writing, this that, but even if it's able to add value to just one person, your work is done. That's how a brand, I'd say, that's how a long term brand is made. So once you get that, you start your blog. It's very easy peasy. WordPress is free, for beginners. Start writing, pen out your experiences, let the world know, because you live only once. You get only one chance for the world to know that you exist. So you might as well just make good
Most of
use
it.
of exactly. So I guess this worked for me, and this has been working for a lot of my mentees. So this can work out for a lot of others as well.
I
So
think
like, as you said,
I think
Prasanna, please go.
I can we can just cut out this part and law students can listen to it for daily motivation, right?
They can listen.
That one
So
is very important, which you were talking about, is getting yourself like that exposure, exploring different domains. And because when people, law students especially, when they think about like choosing careers and they're like, I'm confused and I don't know things, then that's the problem. You don't know things, that's why you have to explore. The more you know about different things, then you will come to know that, okay, these are the things I'm good at, these are my skills, these are
Yeah.
my weaknesses, and then you can figure out what to do and what not.
And the worst part, I'd say, right now, what I've witnessed is, just recently I posted a story about how I decided of choosing to do MSc in international business from like a UK university. And I actually put that story out so law students can know that MBA is not the end solution to your business, centric dreams. Funnily, I see people who just graduates, fourth year, fifth years, even final, even law graduates saying, "Okay, I think I may want to do this because I don't have a job right now." You think I can get? You think MSc in international business is easy? Or I think I'm interested in business since I don't have a job. Can I pursue this? So I was like, you don't have to pursue this because you have you have no other option. It's very sad that people pursue LLM these days as a solution to a job, which is very funny, because I see people from Colombia also sitting jobless, because I was in recruitment and I used to see very nice CVs, but sadly their condition was that they were jobless. So, masters in today's world is not a solution unless and until you're absolutely passionate with what you want to do. And right now, I see the passion is dead in law students. They are just competing with the number of certificates they can hold while they can intern. And then, after that, they want to post it on LinkedIn saying, I interned here. Again, there's a whole competition about tier one firms. Everybody wants to work there. I understand why. But are you passionate of it? Just because everybody is doing, everybody wants to do it. It's basically like a, herd mentality that has just, I'd say, come up on everybody, which is very sad because this thing was there when I was in law school, but it wasn't as prevalent. So I guess I was at that advantage where, I got a chance to explore. Because right now I see everybody is just going crazy over what everybody else is doing. Nobody's seeing within themselves and realizing what their true, potential is, even as a law graduate.
But I'm asking, just say you said that people who are into litigation and then they come and say, hey, I want to switch to corporate. But can they not? Like, of course, you have
It
also
is.
switched a lot of.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm telling you. So
Uh,
switching from a lit to corporate is easy. All I'm saying is that the way they pitch themselves,
they pitch their
everything
skills.
that yeah, so everything they write about themselves on the CV is very litigation centric. So anybody who is looking for a corporate, a lawyer does not see the value that you might add. And even in a cover letter, you're just like, I am working in this high court and I wish to, work in your esteemed organization. But where is the value? So unless and until you're able to create a value, nothing can happen. You might have an amazing experience, you might be one hell of a lawyer, but
Hmm.
unless and until you don't know where you stand with your skill set, unless and until you don't know what your skills are, nothing is going to happen. So opportunities are there, dearth of opportunities is not there, but understanding of where everybody stands is not there. And I've seen this with my own peers where they're like, oh, even we want to try business development because I think litigation is not working for me. And when I ask them for their CVs, everything is litigation centric. So I understand you've not done anything, with regard to business development, but maybe you can, not go very hard selling on your litigation experience and just
Litigation
mellow it
experience.
down, right? Because
Hmm.
that's where you want to pitch yourself. Even for me, my CV had nothing to do with business, but slowly with the courses that I took, with the things that I started doing, my CV is now a full, business side of the law CV and nothing to do with litigation or corporate. So people need to understand, look within themselves and then make their CV. So I think a lot of factors are there in the whole career switches and career transitions and stuff.
So what would you suggest? Like if a person wants to switch from litigation to corporate or maybe say business development. So like how should that person pitch himself or herself?
See, the only thing that they can say is that we are interested and that
Correct.
we are passionate. I mean, these are the only things that I really can't say from a litigation to corporate because I do not
Like
have the
anything,
corporate
like any career
experience and
switch.
everything.
Like
Yeah,
how
so
can I
I
pitch
think
if I have no experience?
yeah, so for all the for so based on the people I've interacted with who are in the legal and they want to move to business
Mhm.
development, how passionate are you is important, right? Because when I talk to people, their CVs might not have anything. Honestly, their
Mhm.
CVs are very, plain with their litigation experience, high court, this and that. But then the way they talk about, the business side of it, the way they say that I think, this could work out in this way. The minute they start strategizing is when you realize they might have it in themselves, they just don't know yet. So, for me, conversations are important. Are important. I mean, I really don't see the CV of a person and be like, "Ah, you don't have experience." Of course, nobody has experience in the business
Mhm.
development, business development side of the law right now. So you're supposed to look beyond that. Talk to people and ask why. Why is it that they're interested? What really has been, they're calling for business development. And for me, these conversations kind of give me the answers of whether they're truly passionate about it or not. And many a times many people are genuinely passionate. So sometimes CV is just a medium through medium for another conversation which kind of either breaks it or makes it. And for me, whoever I've interacted with, or, from like a law to business development, all I've all I can understand, all I've kind of deciphered is that they genuinely are interested to learn because that's how exciting this particular thing is. So when you're excited, passionate, and you have it in you, and you start talking like you're strategizing, is what makes it for me. So for me, this is how the process has been so far.
And I think this business side of law is not introduced much to law students. So most of us
Not
don't
at
know about it. Huh? So especially because we don't have such conversations in law schools, and I
Yeah,
even the faculty is interested to explore the students to this field. So and that's the reason why students fail in conversing, in pitching for that particular
right.
opportunity,
Yeah,
even for like individual lawyers or law firms. And the same goes when they are trying to get clients. Okay.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So so how would you advise lawyers who like are trying to build their practice, trying to get clients on in like on terms of their branding and marketing? How should they pitch, and what all things they should take care of?
See, branding and marketing are, they have a little bit of a difference. So
Hmm.
once you understand the difference between the two is when you're in a better position to pitch yourself. So, first step that comes, I'd say, from a legal industry point of view, is branding and then marketing. So branding is who you are. Marketing is,
What you
you're
have to
awareing
offer.
the, yeah, so you're creating awareness about who you are. So, it is fairly easier for non-legal products, services and all to mainly hire a celebrity or an influencer and create that brand. So branding is secondary. But then when we're in the legal industry, we just can't go out there and, say, hey, take services from us with this, with that. We can't do that. So for us, it's absolutely important for the market to know us. And for the market to know us is where the brand comes. And how can lawyers actually end up, to a place where they're able to pitch themselves is by creating their brand. Because if today people know me as Bhavya, it's because, you type Bhavya Bhatt on LinkedIn and probably I'm the second or the third or maybe even the first person that, flashes. And then when they go through everything, is, when they realize, okay, this is something that I can offer. So I am not really, out there asking for work, but
Hmm.
my profile has been built in a way where, people can come and they see what I'm doing, and if they see that I add value to it, they will approach me. So the whole game over here, I'd say, is on LinkedIn. There is no other platform as important as and as integral, to a lawyer than that of LinkedIn, because it is here that the whole world can watch you if you, take the right steps. For me right now, I don't think the whole of the world knows me, but I know that tomorrow, if I continue doing what I'm doing, I will be in a position where, more people might know. And it's just a little thing. So for the past 4 years that I've been freelancing, it's till today I've never really had the chance to pitch myself to somebody, say, I think I want to do this. Because everybody from the front have come and texted me, hey, would you want to collaborate? Would you want to work? We're looking for somebody, to do this, to do that. So at the end of the day, you have to reach a place where you're not even pitching yourself, but you're pitching yourself, you know so I
Hmm.
think reaching that point is very important. And to do that, you need to understand where you come from, who you are. Unless until you don't know who you are, you will not be able to tell the world who you are, right? Because you need that
Hmm.
clarity. And for me, I never really saw myself as a litigator. I never saw myself as a corporate lawyer. So I needed to figure out who I was. And it took me 2 years. Today, I can confidently say that yes, business side of the law and practice development and digital marketing, brand building, website, content writing, and everything is me. But it took me 2 years. It takes time to reach where you are. So, one can't really start off writing on LinkedIn today and assume that tomorrow I will have 10,000 followers in a day and, I will get these many likes and I will get featured in interviews and all. It's a process. So once you break down that process for yourself is when you will be in a position to pitch your services even as a lawyer to people, and that is when people will come to you. Because today, gone are the days when people will just randomly come to you by word of mouth. Even by word of mouth, they will first do a deep dive into your
Hmm.
profile, find out who you are, and then come to you. So I think that brand creation is very important. And it is right when in law school when you've got to start this. So, you are in your law school and then gradually you move out of law school and you have your networks. This is what happened with me. I started off in the second year, and by the fifth year, I had good amount of followers. I knew people who would, who would support me. And in fact, all my jobs, 3 jobs so far, have been offered through LinkedIn, and I didn't pitch. It came. If you're able to do that, no, that is, I guess, the point for you where growth will not stop. Success might come late, but growth will not stop.
This is a good strategy for getting a job, or if you are into business, as you were saying. But while getting clients, there will be a different strategy. So how would you advise law students for that?
See, for law students right now, there are 2 3 ways, by which one can actually end up getting clients. One is attach yourself to a brand and start networking through their brand. I mean, by brand, I say a law firm. Let's say tier 2, tier 1, mid tier, whatever. If the law firm has a name, if you attach yourself to the name, people will know you through that name and not through you, which has been working out for people. So this is one way of creating your clientele, where you're interacting with people in the courts and getting clients for the law firms, because they see that, oh, you represent that law firm. They don't see who you are, they see where you work, and that's how you get business. So one way could be this, where you attach yourself to a brand. Another way would be where you're out there as an independent person, and you first want to know what you're offering out there. See, your experience, or your interest is towards criminal, civil, but then over there you're just not pitching the right way, because you have no idea what goes into criminal and civil. What will you post about? Even when it comes to the website, I'd say website, for law firms are very important. Law firms and lawyers, even independent lawyers, should have a blog at least, where they're talking about whatever is going through, where they're analyzing judgments and saying that, okay, this is what has happened there, and I think according to me this is what it is. The minute people start resonating with your thoughts, the minute people start analyzing why you're saying this, and they start accepting and agreeing to what you've said, is another way of getting clients. Because tomorrow a CEO of, like, let's say, a startup, or a founder, like a founder of a startup, sees your thoughts on startups and the legalities behind it, why will the startup's founder not come to you, right? So
Right.
you're supposed to pitch yourself knowing the audience. Like over here, if suppose your niche that you want to develop is
Hmm.
startup practice, and you're not writing anything about startup practice in your profile, you're not advertising. I wouldn't say advertising, because again, it's a wrong term for our legal industry, but you're pitching yourself not via startup centric things, but random, what is mergers and acquisitions. Are startup people will not know this, because they need to know the integral part of startups and the legal structures behind, right? So why will a startup founder come to you? So you need to break it down to points. And to break it down to points, you first need to know what it is that you want to do. Who are you, and who are you pitching yourself to? So LinkedIn can help out with everything right now. And as I'm saying this, because my peers have started writing about, latest judgments, this and that. And a few independent, I'd say, people have come up to them and asked them if they can help them out, with like a legal issue. And that's how they've had closures of clients also.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
before making yourself a brand, like you should decide on a niche.
Yeah, exactly. And in today's time, I see a lot of law firms, even I'd say mid-tier or new law firms, let's say, they're like, we're a full service law firm. But the
Most
problem
of
with
the
a full
people
service,
are correct.
yeah, the problem with a full service law firm is, what I've understood is that who says no to money, right? They want
Correct.
money. So to get
Hmm.
more money, they're like, we'll do everything for you, even if they don't have a team for it, even if they don't have an expertise. But
Hmm.
what happens is that you're not able to do full justice to the job, and you end up losing more than getting more. So for me,
Hmm.
I think niche is very important. And that is why, if you see a couple of law firms who are very boutique in nature, very, very niche
Hmm.
focused, are the ones who are excelling. Whether it's with media and entertainment, or whether it's with core M&A, or whether it's with only general corporate, or full, or full, I'd say, full litigation or whatever. So building your niche is very important. And once you build your niche, I guess the work's done for you. There's nothing else that that can stop you from, growing and building your clientele and everything else.
If a person who takes independent cases, I'm sure initially one cannot pick a niche. You just take what you get in the start,
Yeah,
because also you have to
yeah,
sustain yourself.
yeah.
So if, say, I want to build a brand on LinkedIn, or say start a blog, like how would you break that down for me, like stepwise? Like, should I just start writing on LinkedIn on things I'm interested in, or should I start writing on things I'm going through, like with the kind of cases I'm handling? Because there's
See,
one
I
thing I'm
think,
doing and one thing where I want
yeah,
to go.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think striking a balance, is very important, because for the world to know what you're doing, they need to know where you're coming from. And that's why disregarding whatever you've been doing does not make sense, in order for you to go out there and try something else. But then it's
Mhm.
equally important to let the world know, and let everybody know for this matter, that you are interested in it. See, because I guess right now all of us have different personalities even within ourselves, where our passion is something else, our interest is something else, and the work that we're doing is completely something else. But then,
Hmm.
that does not mean that you cannot pursue your passion on LinkedIn and, show to the world that you're interested in, let's say, fintech. So you might not have the experience of being a fintech lawyer, but then that does not stop you, or that does not deter you from talking about fintech related regulations and, all the things that have been happening. So when people out there, when, companies out there see and read your perspective on various fintech laws, they will not care what you are doing. They will want
Hmm.
you to be working with them because they resonate with you. So I think striking a balance is very important over here, where, it's absolutely easy. I wouldn't say it's too easy, but then if you have that right strategy, where,
Hmm.
you know what and which kind of audience you want to talk to, the content automatically is there, and all you have to do is talk about it. That's what I've been helping. I mean, for me right now as a freelancer, it makes more sense for me to be working with individual lawyers more than, these mid-tier, tier one, tier two law firms, because they're already there. And honestly, we're at this point where nothing is really impossible. Even for an individual lawyer, it is very easy to make their brand in a way where they pitch themselves according to any niche that they want to, irrespective of what they've been doing. It's because I have seen litigators doing arbitration, litigation, and stuff, dispute resolution, to have a cumulative idea. And then they're writing about fintech on LinkedIn. So people over there know him as also a fintech expert, and that's how editors see you, and that's how reporters of various newspapers, magazines, journals see you. And then, the minute they see you and the minute they read your thoughts, they like it, they want to feature you, they want to publish your articles, and the process just becomes easy, and in no time you're a fintech expert, and you had no experience in fintech, litigation or anything. So I've seen this happening, and that is why first having a clarity of who you are and what you want to do is important. And once you get that, content is what really saves everybody, this, in
this
this age, I feel.
this is an important point, but the thing is, people think about these things and they just keep on thinking about these things, these questions like strategy and what to do, how to do and stuff,
Right.
and they
Yeah.
don't start. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Correct.
in the content field, if you want to do something, the main thing is you start whatever. You will feel that you are not ready, you will feel that you don't know much, but that's fine, because everyone who starts doesn't is not an expert from day one. I'm sure
Right. Right.
even when Bhavya started writing, she would have, procrastinated writing like a few days or months, something like that.
I still
Was it like
do.
that?
I still do it, because right now I'm seeing everybody, take LinkedIn down in a way where they're like, everybody's talking about motivation. It has become the next Sadhguru, and everybody
Mhm.
wants to become Ankur Warikoo. And I have had my own friends tell me this, ki kitna aata hai? What is this? Yeah, it feels like I am just listening to, Sanskar channel on on LinkedIn, because everybody is
Mhm.
talking about their motivational things, and that's so. Obviously for me also, I still till today have thoughts, and
Mhm.
it's because of these thoughts that I'm not able to write every day, because
Hmm.
I've seen people writing every day and they're acing their game. But for me, I'm still, reluctant. So for me to come from a point where I was so reluctant to a point where I'm a little reluctant, but I also have that thing in my head that they're all stupid, they don't know what I'm talking about. So, it takes a lot of guts to honestly just be out there. And that is why
Hmm.
I know
100%.
everybody wants, who doesn't want their brand. If today I tell my friends, come,
Agree.
I'll help you build your brand, they will give me their LinkedIn, credentials and be like, we'll pay you, just do it. So it's that easy for everybody to, kind of build their brand. And I know half the people on LinkedIn aren't really writing them stuff themselves, that
Hmm.
ghost writers are doing it
Ghost
for them,
writing stuff.
but it's working out for them now. So
Hmm.
see, it's not necessary that you have to start writing it. Take somebody else and let them write it for you. I have ghost written for so many people. So, it's like that. Your will of being somewhere should be there. How you do it, there are gazillion solutions to it. And people like us exist for a reason, like, ghost writers.
Yeah, and I think it's not about only writing. So you can
Yeah.
pick any, like, you just have to put out something, make some product,
Yeah.
make something, like it
Yeah.
may be a text
Yeah.
post, it may be a tweet, a thread, it may
Right.
be a small videos. I have seen like a few lawyers who are on Instagram, they just focus on Instagram reels, they just small videos.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
start with
Yeah.
something whichever suits you, whichever you think is good for you. You can do it better. If you think you are not good at writing, you are doing good at making videos or speaking on maybe a podcast also, a small like audio
Yeah.
bits. If you are not
Exactly.
comfortable in front of the camera, you can go with
Right.
audio. So there are
Yeah.
multiple opportunities. You just have to think on what you have to do and just start. So
Exactly.
starting is very important.
The most important.
Yes, exactly. The
So in
thought has
addition
to
to
be
picking, Bhavya, go on, please.
No, all I was saying was that the thought has to be there to start off. Because there are
Hmm.
people like us who are there at every juncture to, kind of help them out and maybe even do stuff for them, not just the writing bit, but I know a lot of video editors out there. I know graphic designers who design all these fancy posts for lawyers and law firms. So
Hmm.
people are there. They just have to know why they're doing what they're doing in the start off.
Then, in addition to picking a niche in terms of which law to practice, we also have to pick a platform for us. Maybe it can
Yeah.
be LinkedIn, Insta, Twitter. So, do you think
Yeah.
like picking a platform also helps?
See, it depends on what audience it is that you're targeting.
What
Because,
audience you're targeting?
for these, yeah, because every audience, when I talk about Facebook is just, I guess, out of the picture because, a
Hmm.
lot of our, I mean, my parents are there, like, only they use Facebook these
Same.
days to share on motivational posts and this and that.
Hmm.
So I think cutting Facebook out of the picture right now, yes, lawyers use Instagram, lawyers use Twitter, lawyers use LinkedIn. But then the audience is very different. So YouTube also is something that lawyers have started taking up these days because
Hmm.
they want to talk about the recent cases, or they want to, kind of brief the people about their rights and this and that, or they want to teach people about CPC, CRPC. So there are so many mediums, but you need to have that understanding of what each platform offers and who it offers to. So once you have that clarity, it becomes easier for you to know where you want to pitch yourself. Like for me, I want to pitch myself on LinkedIn. I don't think IG is for me because I can barely maintain my Instagram. How will I maintain whatever that I'm doing? And Twitter, I don't know. I just use Twitter to rant on whatever I've been going through, via the roads and the planes and stuff. So for
Hmm.
me, LinkedIn is what I feel is feasible.
Actually, I wanted to ask, like Bhavya initially mentioned, like you should know what is your USP, right? Like I would want to ask, what do you think is your USP, and how can everybody else, find out ki
Right.
what are their strengths?
Right. See, for me, I think my USP is my storytelling and my writing because and how I've gotten to this point where I can very without any doubts and very confidently say that it has to do with my writing and the way I narrate things. That's the whole storytelling bit of it. Is because right when I was in fourth grade, I used to write poems and stories, and there was my English teacher who said you can become a writer, and that thing did stick by with me, and I
Hmm.
ensured that I don't stop writing. So right now, when people resonate with whatever I've been saying, whether it's with my law school experiences, or whether it's with, my workplace experiences, or whether it's with anything normal when it comes to mental health and all, the way I write is what makes an impression out there. Everybody can write. Now, letters, words. All you have to do is put it in a sentence and put it out there. But then the way you write and narrate is very important, and that is where my USP lies, because these stories and everything that I put on LinkedIn are very honest and very unfiltered. Right from my defamation stories to what I've been, feeling in my terms of mental health, anxiety, therapies, everything is so unfiltered and raw that people like to read it, and that's where my USP is. I can pitch, and I have that storytelling thing in me, and I know I can write. And it's taken me a lot of years to reach to a point where I can say this out loud. Probably in the next upcoming years, I might also say that my USP is helping others build brand, because that is because this is something that I've done for myself. And it's through trial and error for the past 5 years that I've reached to a point where I can rely on my brand.
So I was reading one of your interviews in which you said you started your LinkedIn thing in 2017.
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah.
So I would want to ask, how much time does it take to build that kind of traction that you have now? And malab, how consistent you should be with it?
See, honestly, I have not been consistent. I mean, my whole last year, it was so, the whole second last of the year, the second part of the year, 2021, and then the first half of this year, 2022, I was not posting regularly. I was hardly interacting with people. In fact, my profile views had come to 2 digits, whereas, it used to be in 4 digits. So that really affected me in a way, because I was like, what am I doing? Why am I not doing it? But then everything affected me so much, because see, for me, I know that in the past 5 years that I've reached 14,000 followers, it's only because of my true experiences.
So does it take consistency to reach to that level?
Absolutely. Yeah. Like you have to, because for me, I've noticed in Jan alone, like Jan, Feb, March se leke abhi tak, when I used to post on Jan every day, I had my profile views high, my engagement rate was high, and then for 7 months I hardly posted stuff. So everything came down. And the thing is that LinkedIn algorithm, I feel, starts pushing your post down if you're not active. So you need to regularly engage in comment, likes, and connection
Yeah,
requests, and you need to follow people, because
that's
the
not
minute
a,
that goes off, na,
yeah, and
it's
that's
gone.
not only with LinkedIn. It's like every social media
All the
platform.
platforms.
Same for YouTube. I am running this channel, and like there have been I used to post one video per week when I started, but then a few things happened and I stopped uploading videos like 1 or 2 months, and then there was a drastic decrease in the views and the
Yeah.
like subscribers,
It
etc.
happens, yeah, it happens. I think it also happens offline. You go out there
Hmm.
and people don't know
It
who you are.
does.
You have to restart, right? So your consistency is everywhere, even in terms of what you eat, the workout that you do, everything that you're doing from day to day. If you're not consistent, it's going to go down
Hmm.
anyhow. Because this is very important, being consistent, especially on LinkedIn. Very, very important.
And it's very difficult to.
Ask me. It is very difficult.
Okay, so the last question of this episode. Please share some incident from your career which is very, very memorable to you.
Actually, yeah, I think how I came to terms with with practice development is very, I wouldn't say funny, but I was like, maybe it was meant to happen like that, because when I graduated, I wanted to become a cyber lawyer. No intentions of entering this side, because I was like, does it even exist? Like you said, law schools, they don't teach you all of this. Nobody knows that this thing is there or whatever. So I was working with a tech startup called Bot Matrix, and they had their product called Legal Bots for the legal industry. So it's basically
Hmm.
a career portal. And we were out there talking to a lot of law firms, to just say that, maybe you would want to try Legal Bots up. And they mistook it for developing their practice. They thought we are ready to help them with their, growth and business development. And they were like, can you get somebody from your organization to sit in our work and, like kind of organize everything? And I was like, is this even something that we can do? Like, I was genuinely curious as a law graduate that this is interesting. I mean, I would for sure want to arrange everything. I would want to organize everything and stuff. But is it possible in a law firm? Because I had no idea. And that's when I understood that growth managers or practice development professionals is a thing. And I wanted to work with this particular lawyer, because he was very heavily, relying on how he would want somebody to manage his internal practice, brand visibility, business development, everything. And I wanted to do it. But I was working with my tech startup. I was like, it's we're out there doing something with a different product. We can't do this. So it was then when I understood, oh, this is a nice thing that I want to pitch. And then after I left Bot Matrix, I explored this so much that I was like, it's great that I, was in that meeting. Surprisingly, I was not supposed to be in that meeting also. I just happened to be in that meeting where we were talking to that law firm. And it's from that day till today, or let's say till last year, when I was absolutely sure. I used to read up on so much, how do you organize law firms, what is the problems that go inside law firms, and the whole HR bit of it, the internal policies, important policies and everything. So I think this particular incident, right, where I by chance stumbled upon growth managers and practice development, was just this just changed the whole game for me. Because had this not happened, I probably would have been doing business development, but not in the legal industry, because I didn't know that legal industry needed something of this sort ever. So I think this was one thing that really changed my whole game. So you're supposed to just be there, explore. You never know what chance at what juncture you might just stumble upon something that could just change your life and your career. Yeah.
Okay. That was a great conversation.
Great conversation.
I enjoyed it a lot. Do you have anything, Nitamra or Bhavya? Do you want to add something?
Not really. I mean, at the end of the day, all I want for is more people to enter this field, because as much as I've heard people say that you don't need lawyers in marketing, I think there are no better professionals than lawyers for the legal industry to do anything. To do anything. We can do everything. And when I see marketers out there, non-law marketers, they're like, I don't think lawyers are cut off for this. I take it personally, because I'm like, anybody can do it. Because I
Mhm.
think lawyers are fit everywhere. We read between the lines, we have that thing where we can negotiate, we can close, we can, and we know how to manipulate him to a level where, because I mean, come on, we're lawyers at the end of the day, and all our moot courts and research papers and everything they've trained us to be like this.
Mhm.
So I think the minute, lawyers understand that this is something that is very, very integral to a law firm, that'd be great, because I surely want to add more people to my team in the upcoming years.
And I think that's uh, obviously a lawyer who does a marketing of a law firm or an individual lawyer would be better than a non-lawyer does the same.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
exactly.
also.
I mean, because I really feel like, ठीक है, हाँ, engineers can go out there and, with the BTech degree, they can do marketing, they can do this. Everybody's like, yeah, you can do it. Why aren't people doing it for BA LLB people or LLB people? I mean, if anything at all, we have one extra year, of being in a
Mhm.
law school. So we are cut off for anything. And in my previous, job also, I did hear, a couple of people say that they don't want to work with lawyers, because they feel, lawyers are better off doing legal work and leave it to marketers. The thing is that unless and until you don't understand who you're working with, and who are those people, how will you ever market yourself? Because non-law industry marketing is very easy compared to legal industry marketing, because there's so many restrictions and,
Mhm.
barriers at every juncture, that you need to talk to lawyers. At the end of the day, you're talking to lawyers, you are a part of the legal system. How can you completely disregard lawyers and the whole legal system and work in a legal system and say, we don't want to work with lawyers, I want somebody else? I mean, I
Mhm.
understand expertise is one thing where, you feel like somebody with a marketing degree is better cut off. But I mean, when engineers can do this, why can't we do it? This is something that I very heavily believe in, that we as lawyers, as law graduates, have the power to do anything in today's time. I mean, I know so many entrepreneurs who are doing amazing things. In fact, the founder of Sleepy Owl, I think, is a lawyer. And I can give you gazillion examples. So I know that we're cut off to do anything. But for that, we need to take the first step and not be scared and just go out there and do it. Because we're actually, I guess, the thing for lawyers is that we are in a profession where everything's limitless. We can do it if we want to do it. So yeah,
I think I'm
I think
very
whoever
hopeful about it. Where the practice development bit is going, but I've seen a lot of people either venturing into it, and
yeah,
also everybody wants to market their practice today.
yeah.
And
I mean,
people are
that is what
heavily
it is.
invested on LinkedIn, especially independent lawyers these days, by the way.
Yeah, and you never know. I might be writing for a few of them.
Of course.
So, yeah.
Okay, that was a great conversation. Thanks, Bhavya, and thanks, Ithamra, for joining us. And thank you so much for listening to this podcast. If you like this episode, do check out our other episodes available here and follow us here so that you don't miss out a new episode. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.